Brendan Dassey trial transcript day 4, continuing on page 153. Attorney Edelstein. Yeah. Okay, Baldwin's comments were after my initial asking him about the girl taking pictures. All right, so you were incorrect when you said it was after his initial affirmation of seeing the girl take pictures? That's correct. Okay, well, nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. Won't hold that against you. So you're the first one that really brought it up? Yes. Okay, as long as I'm here, so I don't have to chase back and forth between the first time you brought it up, you make the statement that it's not every day somebody's taking pictures of a van, right? Correct. The question then becomes, how many people are on the bus? Correct. He answers the question, right? Correct. The next question, as far as taking pictures, comes from you, the girl taking pictures. You remember that, right? Correct. Okay, he says, well, I wasn't looking at, and then it looks like he was interrupted, right? Attorney Fallon, I would object to that characterization. I think the tape itself will speak another explanation. The court, yeah, the tape is the best evidence here. I'll sustain the objection. Attorney Edelstein, that's fine. In any event, there's no answer to that. He does not affirm or deny what you're asserting, correct? According to the transcript, the written part, there is no specific answer to it. And if this is based upon the video everybody just saw and you come, did you ever personally compare this to the audio? Yes. And it's accurate? To a point it can be, yes. But he never either affirmed or denied what you first suggested to him about the girl taking the pictures. He does state that he saw the girl taking pictures. Not until it's brought up again, especially in this right in this little exchange, next, not by yourself, but by Baldwin? Yes. And his answer was maybe. I don't know, right? Initial copy, yes. And that's when Baldwin said, Brendan, come on, as if to suggest that Brendan was withholding something? My opinion? Yes, sir. Perhaps. If you're disappointed about something, Detective, would you be displeased? Attorney Fallon. Objection. Relevance. The court. That's sustained. Attorney Edelstein. Did you not... Attorney Fallon. As to the form, anyways. Attorney Edelstein. You told him, did you not, Brendan, and I quote, you're not going to disappoint us. Do you remember telling him that? Yes. Do you remember asking him, did you see her standing there taking pictures? Attorney Edelstein. Counsel, I'm on page 18. And he did answer, yeah? Yes. And then did you immediately thereafter ask him, and if you don't remember, I'll come back, but did you ask him, why didn't you tell me that? I'm going to save you a trip, yes. And you suggested to him the reason that he perhaps didn't tell you that was that he was scared? Because you phrased it as, are you scared? Right? I'm not sure if it was in response to him saying he was afraid or if by itself I just said, are you scared? Is there some reason you didn't offer up as an explanation for his failure or inability to answer your earlier question that perhaps he has a bad memory? I didn't have that opinion. You didn't know anything about him other than the brief contact you had that morning, correct? Nothing before our conversation to suggest to me that he had a bad memory. All right. Attorney Freeman. Just one moment, Judge. The court. Okay. Attorney Freeman. Judge, if I may, it's 3 o'clock. I believe Mr. Edelstein still has some significant amount of cross, and the state will have a couple of questions. Court want to take a break? The court. Sure. We'll break until 3:20. Recess had at 3:03, reconvened at 3:27. The court. Counsel, you may resume. Attorney Edelstein. Thank you. Detective O'Neill, during the course of 1 hour and 20 minutes, roughly, would you agree or disagree with me that both yourself as well as Skorlinski and Baldwin told Brendan that you believed that he was being told what to say? We brought that up, yes. All right, and when you say you brought it up, you basically flat out told him you're being told what to say, right? If it'll help speed it along, Detective, I think that Mr. Fallon brought over. It was brought up, that's correct. What's been marked as 203, does that look to be a copy of the transcript that we were looking at before? Yes, it is. Same one that you compared to the audio? Yes. And best you know that's accurate? Yes. Can you tell this jury how many times between you, Skorlinski, and Baldwin that assertion was presented to Brendan? I believe we asked him at least 2, probably 3 times whether or not he was told to say something. Okay. Can you tell this jury how many times during the course of an hour and 20 minutes interview that you had with Brendan that lies were told to him by either you, Skorlinski, or Baldwin? No lies. Would you turn to page 33, please? Toward the bottom of that, specifically Detective Baldwin, the statement is made to Brendan, quote, "She needs medicine. Medicines on a daily basis, okay? Do you see where I'm talking about?" Yes, I do. It's not true, was it? It's standard deception practice used by investigators. Okay, well, I don't want to go down the please, displease rows again, but can you tell me the difference between standard, that what you said, standard deception practices, and a lie? I didn't say lie. Deceptive practices that we may utilize as far as what responses we get from the question. Would you agree with me that a lie is something that's not true? If there's a benefit gained that's ill will, yes. I'm sorry, could you repeat your answer? If you could repeat your question. Okay. I'm sorry, you're asking about a lie and if this was a lie. I'm trying to understand whether, when you used the phrase deceptive practices, let me ask it this way. In your business, does a deceptive practice contain intentionally false information that is conveyed to another person? It's allowable to use some trickery and deceit. I'm not asking what's allowable, I'm asking what it is. Something in the idea of what we had asked him concerning the medications that she would need, yes. The court. You're not answering the question, Detective. Would you re-ask it, please? Did you understand my question? If you're asking me if I lied or if Detective Baldwin lied to him, I'd say no. All right. When the statement was made to Brendan, quote, "She needs medicine on a daily basis," you acknowledge that the statement was made, correct? Correct. And you acknowledge also that when it was made, neither you nor Baldwin had any basis for believing that that was a true statement. Isn't that also correct? True. All right. You, Baldwin, and Skorlinski implored him to tell you the truth, correct? Yes. In addition to the deceptive practice, lie, misrepresentation, however you want to characterize it, about the medicine, it was also suggested to Brendan in a similar fashion that his brother was looking out the kitchen window. Do you recall that? Do you have a page for that? Attorney Edelstein. I'll have to find it, Judge. I know it's in here. Attorney Edelstein, page 30, please. You see at the bottom there, Detective, by Baldwin, you and your brother both? It's the third entry from the bottom. I see it. Okay, it recites, you and your brother both sat there and looked out the window at her, right? Yes. You had no basis for believing that to be true, did you? I didn't make that statement. Well, I can't say for that statement. All right. You were in and out of the vehicle during this hour and 20 minutes, right? Yes. It was November. Do you remember what the temperature was that day? It was cool. Give me a range. If you don't remember, that's fine. I would say close to 35 to 40. All right. Was the heater on in your vehicle? I don't recall. Do you remember if Baldwin turned it off because Brendan asked him to, or turned it down? Not while I was in the vehicle. Okay, so if it happened, it might have happened when you were out talking to Skorlinski. It may have, I don't. Okay. When you got out, that's what you were doing, weren't you? You were going back to talk to Skorlinski? For the most part, yes. And you were sort of reporting into Skorlinski what the progress was as far as gaining any information from Brendan, right? Sometimes, yes. All right. Do you know how many times that you told Brendan that he was not telling the truth? No. But you acknowledge that it happened on multiple occasions during the course of this hour and 20 minutes, right? It may have, yes. Well, now you testified on direct that I think when Mr. Fallon first started having you explain your involvement in this matter, I believe you said the information that you had was minimal. Do you remember that testimony? Yes. Okay, but actually you had certainly not every piece of information, but you knew more than just name, rank, and serial number, so to speak, didn't you? You had some very specific details? Attorney Fallon, name, rank, and serial number is vague. Attorney Edelstein, all right, that's fine. The court, rephrase that, please. For example, Detective, you knew that a vehicle had been found on the Avery property? Yes. And you knew that that vehicle had been checked by a registration and VIN and all that, and that it was Teresa Hallbach's? There was presumptive that it was, yes. Okay, so you presume that that was in fact the case? No verbal response. All right. And in addition to that, you also knew that the vehicle had been in some respect apparently concealed? Yes. Okay. You knew that Teresa Halbach worked as a freelance photographer, correct? Yes. You knew that she worked with the Auto Trader magazine? Yes. You knew that she had been at the Avery property or was scheduled to be at the Avery property on the 31st of October? Yes. You knew a bus driver had reported seeing her at the Avery property on the 31st of October? That Sunday, yes. Any other particular details that you may have known where we can judge whether your answer on the minimal is a good one or a bad one? Attorney Fallon. Objection. Argumentative. The court. Sustained. Attorney Edelstein. You testified. If you'll bear with me a second. I need to find this in the transcript. You testified that you made no sort of promises to him, right? Do you recall that? No. Did you make any promises to him? No. All right. Detective, just so I don't have to go through each individual present, did you or either Skorlinski or Baldwin in your presence make any promises to Brendan? Outside telling him he was free to leave? No. Didn't someone tell him that no matter what he said or something to that effect, that he was not going to jail? He brought up the idea that he was afraid that we'd take him to jail. I remember that. All right. Directing your attention to page 36, at the bottom, 4 lines up. Mm-hmm. You said, okay, why did you not tell us the truth about when you saw her leaving? Answer, I was scared. Right? Correct. Is there some reason, well, what was the very next thing that you said in response to his assertion he was scared? Okay, let's get beyond being scared. All right. Continue? Let me stop you right there. You wanted to get beyond this issue of being scared. Is there some reason you didn't explore that more if your goal is to gather as much information to get to the truth of what happened, why it happened, who did what? I did. Why did you tell him then, okay, let's get beyond being scared? Because we had to deal with that part of it. With what? I'm sorry. We had to deal with his fear, the part of if he was scared about something. Let's get beyond being scared. Well, I take that to mean that, let me ask you this, isn't it true that during the course of the hour and 20 minutes, despite him saying several times he was scared, you, Skorlinski, or Baldwin never really inquired any further about that? What were you scared of? Why were you scared? When did you become scared? You guys never went into that, did you? I think it was covered several times in the audio. What are you afraid of, Brendan? I think I remember those words specifically. All right, well, I think maybe we'll find that in a second. I don't want to get off 36 though, but let's go back to this issue of promises. At the second to the last entry on that page, Detective, right after getting past being scared, you told him, in fact, get beyond the idea of getting in trouble and going to jail because that's not going to happen. That's what you told him, right? Correct. Isn't that a promise? Aren't you promising him that he's not going to jail? I told him he didn't have to talk to me and he was free to leave. There was no... Doesn't answer my question. Did you tell him he wasn't, that, quote, going to jail because that's not going to happen? Did you or did you not tell him that? Yes. Do you construe that as a promise to him? No. Is it fair to say that during the course of the interview that you or the others suggest to him potential reasons why Teresa could be missing? For example, an accident? Yes. Is it fair to say that during the course of the interviews that you, Skorlinski, or Baldwin suggested to him alternatives such as mistake? Yes. Did you probe into Brendan when he indicated that sometimes he gets shy when he's talking to people he doesn't know? At the end of the interview? No. Would it be fair to characterize that during the course of the interview that the 3 of you at various times attempted to increase the emotional feeling of guilt in the mind of Brendan Dassey? I apologize, but would you repeat that? Would you agree or disagree with me that during the course of the hour and 20 minutes that you, Baldwin, Skorlinski, spent with Brendan Dassey, that there was a conscious effort to increase in his mind his belief and feeling of guilt? No. Could you go to page 40? 40? Yes, please. 5th entry from the bottom. You were there and Baldwin said as follows. You feel guilty right now that you didn't help that girl, correct? You see where I'm talking about? I see. I see the glasses you got during the break. I see it. In fact, the very next statement made by the officer, and I'm just jumping down 2 lines there again, is Baldwin, where he says, I can see in your eyes that you feel terrible about something, right? Yes. Is that not a Did you and Skorlinski ever discuss how you might appeal to or cause Brendan to think that he was guilty of something in order to try to get some information? No.